Social media plays a huge role in how teenagers connect, communicate, and see themselves. But its effects aren't always easy to see. In this documentary, I talked to a student, a parent, and a school counselor to understand how social media shapes identity and relationships, both online and offline.
Hello, my name is Austin and I'm in 10th grade. I wouldn't say that my friends in any way are totally different than how they are in person than they are on social media. But I can say for myself, and I do know for my friends, the things that we post online isn't always the perfect representation of what's happening at the moment.
What are your final thoughts about social media use for teenagers?
I think that, you can avoid it. This is the world that we live now.
How have you noticed social media affecting your kids' mood or self-image?
Well, sometimes when things have been posted that are either not true or things that are made up about one of my kids, yeah, it's going to affect their mood because that's the way you guys communicate.
Okay. What conversations have you had with your child about managing social media usage?
Well, when my kids were little, we managed their social media until they were big enough that they understood that there was priorities that came before that, like school and homework, reading, being with family, friends. So it was more about me teaching my kids how to manage their social media.
What are your final thoughts about social media use for teenagers?
From a certain time, but there were 30 minutes to an hour of time where we couldn't get a good photo, and there was nothing that was worth to, get a photo of. So, everything looks like it's perfect, and they depict themselves as living this perfect, or even I show myself living this perfect or going on this perfect trip. But it's not always that. There's always the parts that aren't as perfect as that one specific moment is. I can't depict a moment where my self-esteem has been impacted because of social media, and that's because when I look at social media, I've gotten good at knowing that the same way that everything I post isn't exactly what's happening, and it's depicted to look as best as possible. Things that other people post don't reflect how my life is, and the things that people say about the things that I post don't represent me, because yet again, that's a mirrored version of what my life really is.
From your perspective, how has social media impacted students' mental health or emotional well-being?
It's a great question. It depends, but I'll explain that a little bit. I think overall, the safest and truest thing to say is negatively, right? I think it has a negative impact. I think it has a negative effect on young people, especially on their mental health and their overall well-being. But I do think the details are important. So I don't think it's fair to villainize, let's say, all social media. I think things like intensity, duration, frequency, those things matter, right? Having a social media account, following a couple friends, following some musicians or some sports teams or those kinds of things, fine. But doom scrolling, right? Letting the algorithm kind of dictate how you think and feel about yourself, about others, I think that is when it gets to be unhealthy.